In the shadowed stillness of a long-forgotten workshop, time itself seemed to pause. Each tick and tock measured in a heartbeat of quiet anticipation. Dust motes swirled in the single beam of a flickering lantern, and the space was alive with the soft clatter of brass gears and the steady hum of ancient springs. Here, amidst relics of mechanical genius, the clockmaker labored over his masterpiece, a creation that was as much a testament to his genius as it was a desperate bid to rewrite destiny. The clockmaker's hands moved with deliberate precision over the scattered components. He reached for the final gear, a piece so meticulously crafted that it appeared to glow in the dim light. "This is it," he murmured under his breath, his voice barely more than a whisper, heavy with both hope and regret. His eyes, deep and reflective, like pools of molten silver, betrayed the inner torment of a man burdened by years of ambition and heartache. Every tool and scrap of metal in the workshop told a story. Faded blueprints, yellowed with age, hinted at designs that once promised salvation from mortality. The air was rich with the smell of oil and warm metal, intertwined with the earthy scent of old parchment. The silent witness to secrets kept and betrayals endured. At the center of the clutter, the great clock towered like a monument to both human ingenuity and hubris. Its face was adorned with cryptic symbols, etched not for decoration, but as incantations of power and warning. With trembling resolve, the clockmaker set the final gear into place. In that charged instant, the clock's mechanism shuddered into life. A deep, resonant pulse emanated from its core, a sound that was part mechanical rhythm and part living heartbeat. Each tick echoed across the workshop, a reminder of promises made and of the curse that would soon be unleashed. He paused, closing his eyes as memories surged forth. He remembered his early days as an eager apprentice, the thrill of creation and the bitter sting of betrayal by the one he had once trusted implicitly. That betrayal, swift and brutal, had shattered not only his dreams, but also his very soul. The memory brought a solitary tear to his eye, an emblem of both pain and the hope that this final work might mend old wounds. Across time and space, in the heart of a bustling modern city, another pulse beat in rhythm with the ancient clock. Rain hammered against neon-lit streets, and the city thrummed with life, a stark contrast to the silent, hallowed halls of the workshop. Here, among the labyrinth of back alleys and rain-soaked pavements, fate was drawing together two disparate lives. Under the flicker of a malfunctioning street lamp, a lone figure paused beneath a crumbling archway. This was the modern descendant of the clockmaker, a person haunted by a legacy of both brilliance and sorrow. Heavy rain dripped from the brim of their worn cap, and a deep, restless determination shone in their eyes. They had always felt an inexplicable pull toward the stories of their ancestors, a series of whispered legends about a clock that could command time and a curse born from betrayal. Their gaze fell upon a small object, half hidden in a puddle near the archway, a tarnished antique gear. The gear was unremarkable in size, but mesmerizing in detail, etched with the same mysterious symbols found on the clockmaker's masterpiece. The descendant knelt, lifting it carefully as if it were a sacred relic. For a moment, they heard nothing but the relentless drumming of rain and the distant murmur of the city, as if the world itself had paused to acknowledge this discovery. A cold shiver ran down their spine. Could this be the key to unlocking the past, they wondered, heart pounding with both dread and anticipation. The gear pulsed in their hand, almost as if it had a heartbeat of its own, an echo from a time long gone, beckoning them to uncover secrets buried in history. "Why did you leave this behind?" the descendant whispered into the night, their voice tinged with both longing and fear. They recalled family tales, stories shared in hushed tones at old gatherings, where elders spoke of a genius whose ambition defied the natural order and whose creation bore a terrible price. It was said that the clock had been forged not just to measure time, but to bend it, to command it. And with that power, the cost was insurmountable, a curse that would ripple through generations. The rain intensified, its steady drumming interspersed with the distant wail of a siren. The descendants' minds swirled with questions. Who had hidden this gear? What secrets did it hold? And most urgently, could the legacy of betrayal and vengeance that had tormented their family be broken, or was it doomed to haunt them forever? In that moment of quiet resolve, every drop of rain felt like a promise, every flash of lightning a sign of the turbulent journey ahead. Back in the ancient workshop, the clockmaker listened to the pulse of his creation. The sound was no longer just a mechanical tick. It was the rhythmic heartbeat of his life's work, a defiant act against the inexorable march of time. Shadows danced on the walls, thrown by the interplay of flickering lantern light and the shifting gears. In these ephemeral patterns, he saw the ghosts of his past, the betrayal, the lost trust, and the unfulfilled dreams. Time is both our master and our undoing, he thought, his mind echoing with the voices of those he had loved and lost. He recalled the face of the apprentice, the one whose envy and ambition had shattered everything he held dear. The memory was as vivid as the sound of the clock's pulse. A solitary tear, mingling with the oil on his calloused hands, carved a silent tribute to all that had been sacrificed in pursuit of greatness. Even as his heart ached with regret, a spark of determination ignited within him. Perhaps this final creation could offer a sliver of redemption, a chance to mend the wounds of a fractured past. The machinery hummed on, its ticking merging with the clockmaker's inner monologue. The workshop, filled with the relics of a bygone era, now felt charged with purpose. Every cog and spring, every cryptic inscription, was a piece of a puzzle that stretched far beyond the confines of the room. The clock was not merely a device, it was a bridge between worlds, a portal that connected his tortured past with an uncertain future. The scene shifted once more, pulling us back to the modern city. Here, the descendant clutched the gear tightly as they made their way down rain-drenched streets. In the glow of neon signs and beneath the rhythmic drumming of rain, their thoughts were a jumble of doubt and resolve. The discovery of the gear had awakened a deep-seated need to confront the legacy of their ancestors. Memories of childhood whispered in the background, stories of a great clockmaker whose brilliance was both a blessing and a curse. In a small, cluttered apartment filled with relics and faded photographs, the descendant finally allowed themselves a moment of vulnerability. Sitting by a rain-streaked window, they turned the gear over in their hands. What if everything we know is wrong? They wondered. What if the curse is not merely a tale of vengeance, but a call to something greater, a chance to heal rather than destroy? The question hung in the air, like the fading echo of a long-forgotten melody. A sudden knock at the door startled them. They hesitated, the pulse of the gear in their hand quickening. Opening the door revealed a stranger, a quiet, intense presence, whose eyes seemed to hold a century of secrets. "I believe you're looking for answers," the stranger said softly, almost as if speaking directly to the depths of the descendant's soul. Before they could react further, the stranger slipped inside, leaving behind a sense of both urgency and foreboding. The encounter was brief, yet it carried the weight of an omen, a signal that the journey ahead was fraught with both danger and the promise of revelation. Outside, the rain had eased, leaving the streets washed clean, but imbued with an eerie luminescence. The descendant felt an inexplicable connection to the stranger, as if they were a harbinger of the truth hidden within the family's legacy. That night, as they pored over old diaries and scattered letters, the pieces of the clockmaker's past began to fall into place. Every cryptic note, every hastily scribbled margin, painted a picture of ambition, betrayal, and the relentless pursuit of control over time. The pages revealed a man driven by a desperate need to overcome the inevitable, the aging of the body, the fleeting nature of life. And yet, beneath the surface of his genius lay a profound vulnerability. His words spoke of dreams dashed by betrayal, of nights spent questioning whether the cost of his creation was too high. The descendant could almost hear the clockmaker's voice in the rustle of the pages, urging them to look beyond the surface and grasp the true nature of the curse. In that long, rain-soaked night, as the modern world slept unaware, the past and present converged. The clockmaker's creation had awakened centuries ago, its heartbeat resonating across time. And now, the descendant, with the ancient gear as their only guide, stood at the precipice of a mystery that would test the limits of their courage, faith, and resolve. Every tick of the clock was a reminder of the price of ambition. Every chime was a call to remember that the forces set in motion long ago were still at work. Shadows of the past flickered in the present, whispering of betrayal and of the hope for redemption. In the quiet spaces between the ticking seconds, the promise of both ruin and renewal was palpable. As dawn threatened the horizon with the promise of light, the descendant made a silent vow. They would follow the trail left by the Clockmaker, confront the secrets of their lineage, and challenge the curse that had haunted their family for generations. With the weight of history in their hands and the determination to rewrite a tragic legacy, they stepped forward into the uncertain light of a new day. The heartbeat of the clock, echoing with the pulse of time itself, now served as both a warning and an invitation, a call to those daring enough to face the truths hidden in the passage of seconds. The legacy of the Clockmaker was not just a story of invention and ambition, but a living, breathing saga of love, loss, and the eternal struggle against fate. In the distance, the soft murmur of the city began to rise, a symphony of life that promised change and challenge. The stage was set, and the paths of past and present were irrevocably intertwined. The curse had been born, and its repercussions would be felt for generations. Yet, within that ominous pulse lay a flicker of hope, a chance to transform despair into redemption. Thus, with the first light of dawn breaking through the remnants of night, the legacy of the Clockmaker called out to all who would dare to listen. The journey had only just begun, and every heartbeat, every tick of that ancient clock beckoned the brave to step into the unknown, where time itself was the ultimate arbiter of destiny.